Hello all, Nice Tail here, bringing you a knife review of this Begg Knives Diamici. This is one of their budget knives. It was made in tandem with JVO Design, which is another custom maker, who does some very nice, simple-ish looking customs that are, from what I've heard, quite good. I've never experienced them. I got this knife out to do because I literally just did my summary of the Crazy Astio, which is the big boy. And I figured, well, it's out, so why don't I just do the review, right? What are we looking at? We're looking at a Damascus, as you can see, but a VG10, I guess, sort of like a Sanmai Damascus. Though, is it really a Sanmai Damascus? It's probably the cord, something like that. Stainless steel, flipper only, G10 inlays, inset liner lock. That dog, he's been barking for everything I've been doing today. Let's get into this thing. You got about a 3-inch blade to the front of this handle. I mean, you could argue that you've got about almost 3 1/8 back to here, but I mean, this is what you got functional, so. Just a hair over 7 inches overall. About 4 and... That doesn't make sense. Oh, okay. It's actually a little under 3. I don't know why the heck I said 3. It's a slightly under 3, and it's slightly over 4 on the handle. That makes a lot more sense. That adds up to that 7. Much better. Comparisons to the Civivi Elementum and the Civivi Conspirator for small and full-size knives. As you can see, this thing is very much close to almost exact, maybe just actually a hair more on this little grid pattern here I've got going, to the Civivi Elementum. It is a small knife. You have basically the same amount of actual handle grip. They're pretty small. About as small as I go. I've said that, and I'm not a huge small knife person, but I've realized that as I've been doing these reviews, I've found quite a few more in this size range than I was expecting. As you can see, the thickness to the Elementum it's a bit thicker, but it's also completely contoured, which is something you don't see on cheaper knives. This is not a budget knife, but this is sort of like the budget Begg line. It's also about the same exact height as the Elementum. So you're looking at something that's very close to that. The one major difference is that is full stainless steel. And that means it weighs... Why are we having trouble seeing this today? There we go. 4 ounces, basically almost on the dot, which is not heavy, but for such a small knife, it's definitely, you feel it. It's definitely much heavier than other knives its size, and it's definitely, back heavy because you got these big, milled out, mind you. There's a pocket in there and pocket for the liner lock, but it's definitely substantial and solid feeling for how small it is. There is a carbon fiber variant of this, where it's carbon fiber inlaid with, I think, predominantly wood. That one would be much lighter. Similar price point. Similar features, too. I mean, it's basically the same. Just came out a little bit later. I might actually try one. I might actually get one of those just to check it out, because I really do like this, and I'd like to see how they kind of compare, It would be at this point, it might be good for the channel. Who knows? 478 thousandths. So it's just under half an inch thick. Really? I thought it'd be a little bit, tiny bit wider than that. Interesting. No, I guess that's about right. So you're still under half an inch thick. It's not too thick. It's just thicker than the Elementum. 118-ish, 20 thousandths probably for the blade stock, and behind the edge thickness on this knife is 13 to 14 thousandths, which is actually pretty thin, right? It doesn't have, it's not a tall blade, it doesn't have a ton of room to drop, but it's not, I mean, it's not technically very thick to start off with, but it's just, it comes down to a really quite thin edge. And I keep seeing that there might be a little tiny bit of damage up at the tip of mine because I have used this knife. Hardware check. That I don't need you to bring in more hardware. Thank you. I've got enough. T8 for the pivot, T6 on everything else. That is one thing I don't like, especially considering there's, you know, I mean, technically it's just 1, 2, 3 that you really have to worry about, but who likes seeing T6? No one likes seeing T6 ever. No one. I don't think so. Except maybe, okay, fine. Maybe the French and the South Africans, they like their T6. Why? I don't know, but they do. Final comparison for size and the final little grip thing is, yeah, that's your comparison to AA batteries. So you don't even have 2 AA batteries in length to hold on to, yet I, with large size hands, with my hand at this particular position, coming to about 3.8 inches, can just barely get a full 4-finger grip on this thing. But if I couldn't get a full 4-finger grip on it, I wouldn't have kept it, because I don't like that when it comes to knives. Alright, now that we're done with that, getting into the actual knife. The Damascus core that they do here is a VG10 Damascus. There is also plain, pure VG10 blade for a little bit cheaper. And the Damascus looks really good, let's be honest. This is, in my opinion, what really makes this knife worthwhile, because it's not very much more expensive than the basic VG10, and this is a VG10 Damascus. So you're getting basically the same thing, but with some style at still a good price. I will also say that this thing is stupid sharp, like aggressively bitey. This thing came with an excellent edge. This is nasty. You could really get yourself bad with this. And it came that way, and it's held it surprisingly well. I mean, I like I said, I see a little bit of messy up at the tip where I've been using it, but like, I'm just sliding along, and look, it just picked up skin. Yeah, this thing is aggressive. The plunge grind is, it looks like it hits the edge, but it's actually on a bit of an angle, so it ends like here, so you actually have basically from the height of the blade up to that plunge grind to actually sharpen, which is decent. Like, you're getting a little bit of life. You also have internal stop pins that are right there mounted inside, so you can cut in more plunge, but of course it's also not a huge knife with a tall blade, so you don't have like 10 tons of life in general on this thing. So yeah, they're giving you pretty much your best possible outcome for something of this size and this nature. The one thing I don't like is the Begg Knives logo. Where that is, I don't like that. They put the JVO up there, which is nice. It's fine. I mean, I personally, with a knife this styled and this sort of gentlemanly looking, I wish they'd get rid of the logos entirely. Just let it stand that the person carrying it knows what they have. You don't need logos on this knife. It doesn't need to be there. That would be very clean, very attractive. I like it. But if you're going to put them up there. The Begg logo, first of all, doesn't need to say Begg Knives under there, and just make it smaller, put it up there. That's my really only real critique and criticism of this knife. I wish that was different. Beyond that, the flipper tab is really well shaped, really well designed. It's got some very aggressive jimping that feels good to interact with. The detent is on the lighter, not light side, but no, the detent's good. It's that the knife overall is a little bit tight feeling. Like, it's not really a drop shot. It's not really even a full easy shake shot unless you like give it some movement. It's just a kind of a tight knife, so it feels maybe not quite as poppy as it could unless you really give it some gas. And I mean, in that case, it feels great. It's super smooth and it's super consistent. I'll give it that. It's definitely more consistent than a lot of knives at this price point. This one is centered. There is no play, at least last I checked. No, not a hint. As I said, the stop pin is in there, which is lovely. That's where you want to see the stop pins, let's be honest. You have G10 inlays that are done pretty well, actually. 2 of them. There are a few different variants of colors and stuff for inlay materials. And the carbon fiber ones come with, like I said, wood. The stainless steel is contoured and quite solid and thick. That's what's giving it a little bit more heft. The liner lock is, even though it looks like there's not much access at all there, you can almost get it from the side because of the way this is jimping. And normally I don't like this sort of like tooth jimping on the lock bar. It usually gets too aggressive, but this has been knocked down so much that it's surprisingly nice to interact with. But due to the way the nature of this knife is, and it's on bearings, but due to the tight nature of it, you kind of still want to come in from kind of catty corner, because you want to, in my experience or my opinion or how I like to do it, is like that. You start it off with moving with the finger. You don't waste time going like, no. Just shut this thing, and it's kind of fits its, minimalist yet gentlemanly sort of vibe it's got going on there. I'm just shifting around, by the way. The blade seats almost completely into the handle. It's just a nice little carry, though at the same time this variant might be a little bit heavy in something like a really light pair of like dress pants or something like that. Might pull it down just a little bit. But it's only 4 ounces, so it's not that bad. Not deep carry. The ergos are perfectly fine. Yeah, you feel this. You feel it. But despite that, and despite the fact that these are kind of hard edges, which is weird because everything else is knocked down so much, but the edges on this clip are a little bit harder. And on a lot of knives, that would be a problem. But this one, I feel the ball, but I don't feel the edges of the clip at all in my hands. You only got really one grip on it, and it's comfortable. Heck, it's comfortable in this grip with pushing. Oh, I guess that's 2 grips then. Duh. The clip is not a problem, and it works all right. It's a little stiff, but I don't know what it is about the... I mean, a lot of people don't like the ball bearings, and they can definitely be done poorly, but historically and typically, those on Begg knives are pretty decent, and this is decent. It's not quite as good as like the Astio, but it's not bad. It's just a little stiff. Oh, and we have a pop color for the pivot surround, just because. It's also got a backspacer, which is... I genuinely can't tell. Is that more steel? Where are the magnets? No, the backspacer is not more steel. It's just really, really, really I don't know what it is. It's probably more G10, but because the magnets are going to the scales, but it's been polished and finished so smooth that you can't see any of like the layers or the textures or anything about the G10. So it's really been finished quite well. Oh, that was a good flip. That was satisfying. All right. I think we're pretty much done with the Diamici. Now, price. Price is where these things are a bit more expensive. They are the budget knives for Begg, but the basic one in VG10 still has the 2 inlays, but it's everything this, but just basic VG10, is $109. It feels a little bit expensive, but it definitely feels like it's doing something that your average budget knife isn't, right? There is a solidity here. There is a quality here. The edge is definitely better than pretty much any budget knife you're going to get. You're also getting VG10, which tends to, in my opinion, be a little bit of an overpriced deal. If you really go out and look, you don't usually see it on the super budget stuff, and when you do see it, it seems to bump up the price a little. I don't know what that is. It's a very popular steel. It's good. It's good corrosion resistance. It's pretty good toughness as far as I know, and the edge holding is acceptable. It's easy enough to maintain and sharpen. It's popular for kitchen knives, I know. But it seems to be slightly more expensive steel by itself, so that might be part of it. But the fit and finish here is really good. It's definitely on a slightly higher level than, I mean, like I said, the only complaints would be the Begg logo and maybe some of the lock bar access, but it creates such clean lines that I'm not complaining. It's in service of the aesthetic. It does feel like I'd maybe want another 10, 15, maybe like $90 for this thing. So maybe $20 off. But it doesn't feel that egregious. It really doesn't. It does feel like it's got a quality to it that's setting itself apart. And, of course, the Damascus version, which normally in a lot of knives will add like 20 or something dollars, is $3 more than the base version. So there's really little to no reason not to get the Damascus on this thing, because it's a VG10 Damascus that seems to be a cord Damascus, and you're paying $3 more than just standard plain VG10, and that, in my opinion, bumps it up. It's like, that is not as far out of the realm of a lot of normal knives. When you start seeing those 10CR Damascuses and stuff on even Civivi knives, you usually start seeing them be $90-ish, plus or minus, usually plus. So all of a sudden, it's very much in line with your standard budget knives. In fact, arguably a VG10 Damascus is better than maybe like a 10CR Damascus, marginally, but it might be. And the quality here is definitely there. The carbon fiber ones are the only ones that I find a little bit odd. They're actually $119 for the base VG10 and $129 for the Damascus. I don't get that. That makes no sense to me. Maybe someone can explain it who's more competent than I am. Maybe, who knows? That doesn't take much. Probably some monkeys out there, but aside from that, why does the carbon fiber variant just between VG10 and VG10 Damascus have a $10 discrepancy when this only has a $3 discrepancy? When everything else is the same. And in this one, like, everything else is the same, it's just the steel. $3 to a $10 bump up, it's kind of confusing to me. And I mean, I get the carbon fiber being a little bit more expensive. I mean, as much as this looks like, oh, it's also it's like super almost polished. I mean, I didn't even mention that, but it's really nicely done, stainless steel. But it's steel handles, so you're moving to carbon fiber, and yeah, okay, that can be a little bit more expensive to fit and finish to some extent, especially considering that it seems like they're using pretty good carbon fiber. And it's got wood inlays, so yeah, okay. I don't mind that version, despite being, without a doubt, a less substantial feeling knife, being more expensive, just a little bit. I just don't know why the jump has to be $10 between the variants when it's $3 in these ones. I don't know. I would kind of thought it would have been, $120 or $119 and $122 or something like that. Other than that, it's a really nice knife. It's a really simple, sort of fancy knife that's quite attractive, and let's see. I don't think no, I don't know about that pricing, but and you can see the core, so it's definitely a layered combination. In fact, you can see the core along the whole spine too. It's quite nice. Not something you usually see on a knife around this price point. There are a handful, maybe a handful, of others in this territory that can say that. Yeah, I think Civivi has one that they've done with their sort of like layered Sanmai Damascus thing. Yeah. So it's definitely bringing stuff to the table, and I think it does justify its price point, especially in the Damascus variant. So I like it, and it's really been good. I guess the weirdest thing about the way it is the way it carries, where it tends to carry like this more than if it carry. You can get it in your pocket, but it carries at an angle, so it's kind of always halfway. So it's not deep carry. I guess that could be a problem for someone, but I don't know. I've not had any problems with it. I like it. Begg knives, Diamici budget version. That's all from me. This is taking a little bit longer. I did find something that I wanted to talk about a little bit more in depth. So I'll end the review here. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. I have yet again left that to the end. Dum dum dum. See you later.